So today I'm going to take a look at yet another fact check from this company called Logically. So we can see here from the title of the fact check that worldwide death tolls due to extreme weather related events have decreased in recent decades. Now they've marked this as partly true, which is a bit odd because it's actually true, as I actually explain in the fact check. So it's rather ironic given that the name of the company is called Logically. Now you'd hope that their fact checkers would actually be thinking logically and mark that as true rather than partly true. It's not really clear why they marked it as partly true, unless possibly they're conflating forecasts for future death tolls rather than looking at the actual claim is it's to do with its past death tolls. So we can see here that the BBC has confirmed that death tolls have decreased over the last 50 years due to better warning systems. And of course, with this being about climate change, they have to add in the inevitable uh, addendum there that climate change remains a threat. So the fact check goes on to describe how this issue arose in a BBC documentary which actually claimed that deaths were going up, whereas actually they have been going down for well, several decades, in fact over 100 years or so. Um, but one interesting thing here is that the fact checker says the BBC confirmed that its figures were not entirely accurate in this instance. Now, that's a bit of a euphemism because the figures are actually wrong. So I don't know why the fact checker has to kind of pussyfoot around the matter by saying not entirely accurate in this instance. You know, it's almost as though they're trying to play it down a little bit. And then the fact check goes on to describe what was in the program and what the actual case is. See near the bottom, it does actually describe how the death tolls from weather-related events has actually been going down. But of course, they can't help themselves in the last sentence here, where they have to refer to their predictions that in the future death tolls will actually go up due to climate change. Now, obviously, that's a prediction which may or may not turn out to be the case, and we'll just have to wait for time to determine whether that's true or not. If we look at this article here, it actually puts the figures into really good perspective. So it's looking at the decline in deaths since 1900. So you can see here, point one, it says that deaths has actually reduced between 1900 and 2010. They're actually 99.9% lower than in the 1920s, which is an absolute massive drop. Similarly, with floods and storms, there's been very large reductions in deaths. Now, that's probably partly due to warning systems like the fact check mentions, but it may also be the fact that as societies become more developed, they become more resilient to these problems. And then it actually points out that weather-related deaths contribute only 0.07% of global mortality. So you can see it's actually an extremely small number. So if we go back to the fact check here, I think the important takeaway from this is that fact checkers are not infallible by any means, and they certainly have biases as well. I've detected biases in quite a few fact checks from this company, as you can see on my channel. So it certainly is something to remember when you see social media companies using fact checks to either just poo-poo somebody's claim about something or to actually just censor it, because the fact checker may be correct, but they may not be correct. And at the end of the day, everybody should have a right to be wrong on a subject. I mean, given that the kind of term of the day is misinformation, and pretty much everybody on earth makes mistakes at some point in their lives.